Hello everyone, and welcome to Voxxed Microservices. So this is a conference about microservices, and when you do something, you should start with why are you doing something. So why am I organizing Voxxed Microservices? Well, the first thing, for those of you who don't know me, I come from the community. 12 years ago, I created a user group here in Paris called the Java User Group. And since then, you know, I've evolved through communities. I, like you, I'm a techie. I like to spend hours on my own in front of a computer. But I realized that talking to human beings and sharing with human beings is also fine. So, you know, a conference is a nice place to meet people and exchange. So, yeah, why do I create this conference? Because I like to talk to people, share with people, and I hope you like to. But about the topic, you know, microservices. And there I have to confess something. A couple of years ago, well, I should say a couple of decades ago, I did my thesis on a technology called Corba. Who knows Corba? Wow! How old are you? So I did that. It was, you know, a few decades ago. And I discovered the distributed world, and then I moved on and I joined a company called BA Systems. Who remember BA Systems? Acquired by IBM. Oh, no, sorry. No, sorry. And so I was doing clustering and, you know, failover and sticky sessions, and I found it really fun. And 20 years after, I'm still doing that. But I don't know about you, I still find it difficult. You know, I was doing Corba 20 years ago and I found it difficult. And I was doing clusters and I found them difficult. And today we have this new buzzword called microservices, which is, you know, a distributed system at a large. And I still find them difficult. So I thought, hey, why not put, you know, a lot of people around, you know, around the same table and talk about this technology that is not brand new, but, you know, has a brand new name. So this is why I created the very first edition of Voxxed Microservices. And that's all for the little story. Now I'm going to talk about technical, organizational matters. So the idea is this conference is oriented microservices. So if you have read through all the tracks, everything goes around the microservices. So when we talk about testing, it's testing microservices. We have a couple of talks on the front end, on the UI. It's UI for microservices. You know, how do we create a single UI that interacts with dozens of microservices? So all the tracks that you will see throughout these 2 days are microservice oriented. And we have different formats. So we have two parallel rooms. So this is Apollo, and there's another room next door. So every hour there will be two talks, one in each room. We have 44 talks, 48 speakers. So talks, but also keynote. There's also a panel later today. There's also workshops on Wednesday. So everything, you know, again, around microservices. And we have different kind of talks. Most of them are 45 minutes, but towards the end of the morning or the end of the afternoon, we have smaller talks of 25 minutes. And during lunchtime, we have 15 minutes talks. Everything is recorded and will be on YouTube in a couple of weeks. So if unfortunately you go to one room, but you are missing a fantastic talk on the other room, there will be on YouTube, okay? So everything is recorded. If you miss something, if you miss a talk because you are talking with a fantastic person, well, just, watch it later on YouTube. Schedule-wise, so we have 3 main areas. This is Apollo. Next door, it's the room called Mir, and there's the exhibition hall. So the schedule goes, you had breakfast this morning with French coffee and French croissant. Now we're going to have the keynotes, and then we'll have a break, and then we have the set of talks, lunch. During the lunch, we have what we call small talks. So you can go and drag some lunch, bring them in the room, and you can, have a 15-minute technical talk on microservices if you, fancy watching a technical talk while eating. And then we go back to the talks in the afternoon, and a break, and more talks. And we will end up today with a panel, okay? So at 6, we will have the 3 keynoters. During 30 minutes, they will answer your questions. So, any fancy microservice question that you have, you can, send those questions through Twitter. We'll have Mathilde moderating the talk. It will last half an hour. It will be here on this stage. So, you have the entire day to think of questions. And just use Twitter. If you are shy to raise your hand and ask a question, just use this hashtag, and Mathilde will be looking at the questions. And we'll have our panelists answering them. Okay? So after the panel, so that will be 6:30, 6:45, I think. Well, we have a break, a French break, so with wine and cheese. So we have the meet and greet till 10 p.m. So, feel free to wander around, talk to people, have a glass of wine, and enjoy the social interaction. Tomorrow, no keynotes in the morning. Everything starts with a breakfast, talks, break, talks, lunch, small talks during the lunch, more talks, break, and a closing keynote. Okay, so we will have David Schmidt will be finishing the conference here in Apollo in this room, and it will be the closing keynote. And Wednesday, I know there's nearly half of you coming back on Wednesday for full workshop day. We have a 4th room, which is over there, called Gemini, and basically we'll have a breakfast Wednesday, and then we have 4 workshops in parallel. Each workshop lasts the entire day. So bring your laptop, do some coding, and of course, we will have breaks, lunch and breaks. Okay, so this is the schedule for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And, if the schedule is just too complex, we have an application. So there's the QR code, in the venue. So if you haven't downloaded the app, just scan the QR code, and there's an application with all the schedules, with all the speakers, all the bio. And we'll also printed a few sheets of paper if you prefer to have the schedule in your pocket. So, yeah, there's all the information, all the details of every talk and speaker in the app. Then about the environment, as I said, we are here in Apollo. The Mir room is next door, and then we have the exhibition hall. So Apollo is where the keynotes, opening keynotes and closing keynotes will happen, and the talks with Mir. The exhibition hall, so every break, each time you have a 15-minute break, a lunch break, a coffee break, you can go there. There's always coffee. And also we have our sponsors, so go and talk to them. All the sponsors have something to say about microservices. And then we thought, you know, microservices are complex. It's full of technology. You're going to meet a lot of people, you know, expert in different technologies. If you meet people and you want to hack some code, you want to draw some drawings, you want to build an architecture, there's this place we call 911 Microservices. So just go there. There's table, chairs, plugs, paperboards, and so you can brainstorm, create the, you know, the future microservice architecture of your project. And then for a bit of fun, we have a picture wall. So you'll see a little girl with a camera taking photos, and just, you know, put your photo on the wall. There's plenty of stickers, so you can, you know, again, draw an architectural diagram with your photos and the photos of the other attendees. And here, so it's a bit hidden. It's on the other part of the corridor. There's a little break room. So if you need a 10 minutes break, concentrate on your slides, give a phone call, there's a little room, quiet, again with electric plugs. So we have electric plugs on the tables over there in the center. So every room has electric plugs on the near the walls. We have electric plugs on the 911 zone, so you can charge the batteries of your laptop. And for those of you who haven't seen, it's written everywhere. We try to put bits of papers everywhere. So there's a Wi-Fi. Here is the password, but again, it's written on the paper. So you can download the app and surf the web. And, well, when you organize a conference like that, there's a lot of people involved. And, of course, there's a lot of people you want to say thank you, because this is the very first edition of Voxxed Microservices. So it was a bet, you know, will you come? Will the sponsors come? And we are very happy that, yeah, the sponsors did come. So during the break, go and talk to those guys. They all have something to say about microservices. Either they do training on microservices, consultancy, or they have a framework or, you know, tooling around microservices. So we try to have, you know, sponsors that also talk the same language as we do. Of course, thank you for the speakers. There's nearly 50 of you. You know, they came from throughout the planet, you know, with people from the US, who traveled for this very first edition. So really, really thank you for all the speakers who came and, you know, who made this conference possible. As I said, I come from the community, so so there's a lot of jugs. So for those of you who don't know, it's Java user groups. So yeah, coming from a Java background, I went to my Java friends, but there's also other user groups. So the idea is we engage the user groups, we invite them to our conference because we come from the community. And we also had press partners, so, you know, people writing blogs, writing books, you know, about microservices and so on. And one of those is Manning, so we are very, very happy of, so Manning gave us a few copies of the Enterprise Java microservice. So it's a physical book written by Ken, who's going to be our first keynoter. So Ken will explain you how to win such a copy. There's also the Kafka Streams in Action. So that's for the panel. You know, people giving questions. We will give you a free Kafka book. And during the conference, actually, you can have a 40% discount on any Manning book if you use this discount code. So hey, take a photo, and if during those 2 days you want to buy a Manning book, you have a discount. Thanks to the staff. So if you see people dressed in blue, sorry, I'm dressed in black. If you see people dressed in blue, I'm going to put my blue jacket. It's people from the staff, so they are here to help you. Find your way around, etc., etc. So thank you. It's mostly students coming from an IT school, So they are also geeks and know a little bit about microservices. And thanks you for coming. It's the very first edition, and we are nearly 400 for first event. Thank you very much. And we want you to be, you know, happy in this conference and feel safe. And so like all the DevOps and Voxxed conferences, we have a code of conduct which, you know, is about being friendly to you know, each other. If you feel, you know, there's something aggressive or something you're not happy about it, come and talk to a blue shirt. You know, we're here to help and make it feel comfortable for everyone. So follow us on Twitter. We will use Twitter if there's an information. I already had a speaker saying, oh, can you change my schedule? So I'm going to have to change schedules for tomorrow. So we will send this information on Twitter. Follow us for any information. That's it for me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the opening keynote. So we will have 3 keynotes in that order. Ken, Bridget, and Susan, and they will tell you everything about the past, the present, and the future of microservices. Thank you. That's all for me. Thanks.